Welcome back, football fans, to another previews and predictions video. In this one, we are tackling England, Switzerland. We're going to take a look at some player data, give some thoughts and predictions before putting together some bet builders. So strap in, buckle up, and enjoy the ride. So what we will do is take a look at the last 20 games for all of the players. We're just going to mash the squads together, Switzerland and England, and see who tops the charts for stuff like tackles, passes, shots, you name it. Let's get into it. So for goals, as we can see, really impressive for Cole Palmer, who tops the charts for goals scored per game across this period with 0.82. Harry Kane is second, as you might expect, with 0.8, followed by Dua. Great performance from Dua Lipa at Glastonbury, and Dua of Switzerland not too far behind with 0.53. That drop-off in players that follows Harry Kane just shows how impressive Cole Palmer has actually been at Chelsea. The big question for him is, will he start this game? There's apparently a change of system in the UK, and I'm not talking about Labour coming into power. Apparently 3-5-2 could be the system that Southgate goes with. Wing-backs, right wing-back, left wing-back. Is he going to go attacking with someone like Saka as the wing-back, or will Trippier make a recovery and... You know, we have a right side of Trippier and Kyle Walker playing as a right-sided centre-back, yet to be seen. Just before we get going, if you comment on this video, you will automatically be entered into a draw to win OddAlerts Pro, as was the case on the previous video, and this is the winner. Well done to you. I will be in touch once I've stopped recording this video. Eze as well deserves a mention. He is fourth in the list for average goals across the last 20 games. It shows how well he ended the season. And to be honest, at left wing back in extra time, Eze did really well. He did his job against Slovakia, came on, won his duels, got England up the pitch, won some very important fouls as well. So when you're putting together a bet builder, especially when the game is in a day or so, it's tricky to put it together because you don't know the lineups, especially when England are apparently changing the system. When you look at the Swiss team, you don't expect much to change. You know, they've just beaten Italy 2-0, great performance. Kind of repetitive substitutes they've been making throughout the tournament, just bringing on player for player, like for like. But with England, you know, I could see a team that has Eze at left wing back or Saka at left wing back, and you could see a team that has Trippier at right wing back or Trent Alexander-Arnold at right wing back. Now we will get onto him in the next section, which is fouls. Fouls. So on to fouls then, and the top three players in this list are all doubts, you would say. To start for England, Gallagher, 1.78 fouls per game across the last 20. Ivan Toney, 1.5. And Luke Shaw, is he even going to play a minute in this tournament? Who knows? At 1.47. Saka at 1.1 fouls per game across the last 20 would be my choice if he is left wing back as well. Not his usual position, but he's not unnatural at it. He played it in the youth teams at Arsenal, and then when he broke into the team, he was left wing back before literally moving to the opposite side of the pitch and playing right wing. For Switzerland, it is the man that scored against Italy, Fröhler. He is fourth across all players, 1.37 fouls per game. And if this game is won or lost in the middle, you would expect him and Xhaka, of course, to have busy games. Incidentally, Betfair, it is offering evens on Xhaka to commit a foul, maximum bet of £20. So that could be something that interests you. Will he commit a foul in this game? It's possible, isn't it? It's very possible. This is Granit Xhaka on about, and we will mention him again as we get to the other sections. Usually when looking at Swiss players, Zakaria would actually be my choice, but he's been injured and he was an unused substitute in the victory against the Italians. I wonder if he can prove his fitness and get some minutes, because he's quite a good player for them, quite a good holding midfielder, but they've been brilliant, I think. Switzerland, this is going to be a tough game for England for sure. They look so well organised. Everyone knows what their role is in the team, what they're supposed to do in transition, when they're sitting off, when they're pressing, whereas England, it doesn't really look that way, does it? If we switch to look across the last 5 games, which is all of the games in the Euro plus the friendly that they played beforehand, for most of these players anyway, Granit Xhaka has averaged 1.4 fouls per game, and he's going to be against Declan Rice in the middle of the pitch, so that should be an interesting battle. And again, Betfair offering max bet of £20 at evens, up from like 1.3 or something, so that is something you might want to take. No affiliation to Betfair at all, but of course, if you look at the odds for a Xhaka foul across anywhere else, they are 1.2, 1.3, something like that. A lot will ride on the team selection and the system that Gareth Southgate puts out. You know, if he opts to pack the midfield, you know, if we play a 3-5-2, Is it going to be two out-and-out strikers, or is he going to pack that midfield? Because if he does, I would probably go with whoever that extra midfielder is, whether it's Gallagher, Mainu, or Wharton. I highly doubt that it's going to be Wharton, but yeah, Gallagher or Mainu for a foul if they do start. And as always, let us know in the comments, what would your midfield be for England? Who's going to progress in this game? Every comment is automatically entered into a draw to win OddAlerts Pro. As I said at the start of the video. So with that said, let's move on to shots on target. Shots on target, shots on target, shots on target. So for this one, we're going to take a look at the last 365 days and incredibly, the top 10 spots when you combine these two squads belong to English players. Harry Kane averaging 1.68 shots on target per game across the last year for club and country. And again, Cole Palmer sits second with 1.32. It just shows the array of talent that England does have. And to say that we're not really creating that many chances, not really having that many shots in these games, there is something wrong, isn't there? We're not getting these players in decent spaces, decent opportunities. Even the game against Denmark, the goal that we scored was a gift, to be honest, wasn't it? Terrible defending from Denmark. But you know, this list shows we have players that can cause serious damage, regardless of the players that Southgate selects. I mean, if it's Palmer or Foden, they're both in great form. If it's Watkins or Kane, they're both in great form, both able to score a goal out of nothing. Xhaka or Gordon, it doesn't matter really. They're all in fantastic form for their respective clubs, and I would like to see Anthony Gordon on the pitch at some point. I think if we are chasing the game maybe, or even if we're 1 or 2 up, bringing him on in that left wing-back position. If we do go with a 3-5-2, I think he's got great energy, ability to get up and down the line, absolutely no problem at all. In terms of Swiss players for shots on target, the top player for them is Steven Zuber with 0.67 shots on target per game. Now, if we switch to look at the last 10 games, he actually shoots to second place behind Harry Kane. So in more recent times, in the last 10 games, he is averaging a lot more shots on target, 1.6 for club and country. So he could be an option. It just depends on what you think is going to happen in this game. Do you think Switzerland are going to have the majority of the ball like England have gifted to other teams? This is the thing. If England play the way we did in the first half against Slovakia, I think Switzerland will have 2 or 3 shots on target in the first half. That really was a terrible, terrible start to the game for England. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And again, let us all know in the comments how you think this game will go. I look forward to reading them. But now we'll move on to fouls won. Fouls won. Fouls won. Fouls won. Fouls won. So this is a market that I've been exploring and enjoying on Betfair. It's not even available on Bet365, I don't believe. So it's players actually winning a foul. For the previous game, I had Kyle Walker on at evens, which was a pretty good price, and it came in, I wouldn't put him on for this game because he's going to be playing a lot deeper, but it's a great market, I feel, for wing-backs that do go forward, that bomb forward. Cucurella or something like that in the Spain game, maybe he's just going to get that touch ahead of the midfielder and get fouled. It happens all the time, and evens for him to be fouled, I thought was fantastic, because he'd been getting into some decent areas in the previous games. In terms of fouls won across the last 10 games, Ndoye and Saka are tied at the top of the list, and Saka would be a good option here, wouldn't he? 2 fouls won per game. Bellingham is not far behind with 1.88. Bellingham could be a good option for a double, I feel, to win a foul and to commit a foul. He was a little rash, wasn't he, with his challenges in the previous game. I think he got booked as well when things were not going England's way. So that could be a potential double that you look at. Who do you think will win the most fouls in this game? This is where I wish we had a player like Jack Grealish, to be honest, because he is the master at winning fouls. Not in the squad. Plenty of people not happy about that. And the next best, I think, on the team, obviously Saka's top of the pile, but I think Anthony Gordon, in terms of winning fouls in good areas and getting at his man and winning penalties and free kicks, certainly in dangerous areas, Anthony Gordon, just get him on the pitch, Gareth, or Eze, just get him on the pitch. Let's attack this Switzerland team. Next, we will look at passes per game. Passes per game. Per game. Across the last 10 games, no player has completed more passes per game than John Stones. You might expect that. Granit Xhaka is a close second with 66.5. It's tough to call for the England players because of the low-quality sides that we've played so far, and I say that with respect, but even 45th ranked Slovakia, in the world rankings, they were passing it round us with with ease in that first 45 minutes. So what will happen when we play a well-drilled team like Switzerland? Are we going to give them the ball and try and hit them on the break? I hope not, but that is the way we've been set up in the tournament thus far. Kyle Walker is an interesting choice. I think he's averaging 65.1 across the last 10 games and 68.4 across the last 5 games. He's 1.36 to make 66 or more passes against Switzerland, which might not be the worst option, given that he's now playing as part of that back three, where I think in a couple of scenarios, if England go one up, those 3 defenders are just going to pass it around themselves, or at least try to. Declan Rice coming and helping them out as well. And Declan Rice is also an interesting one because he's averaged 71.6 passes per game in the last 5, and he's currently 1.4 to make 60 or more passes. So that seems like a great price, but just remember that with that back 3 now, if England do play with a back 3, Rice is not going to be dropping as deep, and I think that's part of the plan, to be honest, to get Rice further up the field. But again, if we go 1-0 up, those passes could fly in pretty quickly. So Walker at 1.36 and Rice at 1.4 for those passing lines, and you might want to throw them into your bet builders. Kyle Walker, I think, is a good option because he's playing in that back 3 now. I think he's going to see a lot more of the ball. Now on to tackles. Tackles. Across the last 20 games, no player has made more tackles than Adam Wharton. He's also not played a minute for England in this tournament. And even with a tactical change, I don't believe Southgate will give him his first start in this game. Mainoo probably ahead of him in the pecking order, and no qualms about that, really. Mainoo played well in the last game, had him on for a shot, actually, which is another good selection, to be honest. I always like to go with the sort of less obvious central midfielder for a shot. You never know, the ball might bounce to them from a corner, as it did with Mainoo, as it does with Kante as well sometimes. Doesn't have to be a shot on target, just a shot. So looking past Wharton then, Declan Rice is second with 2.33 tackles per game. Now Declan Rice is 1.5 with Bet365 to make 2 or more tackles, and I quite like that if he is playing higher up the pitch. If England can play with some aggression, if we can press, if we can take the game to them, and we can try and suffocate them, Declan Rice playing a little bit higher will be key. And his interceptions, his tackles, they're massive for Arsenal, and hopefully we can see some more of that, because in the previous games he's been far too deep, and 1.5 could be a nice option for your bet builders. Let me know what you think about that one in the comments. For Switzerland, it is Freuler again. Scored against Italy, didn't he? He is the highest ranked Swiss with 1.98 tackles per game. And as I said before, if this game is won or lost in the middle, you expect him and Xhaka to play a big part in that, regardless of which way it goes. Interestingly, for Granit Xhaka, his game isn't too much about tackles at Leverkusen with his new position. He's getting much further forward at times. He's more of a playmaker. He's actually ranked 21st out of all of these players in the squads for tackles made. Even Anthony Gordon has won the ball back more than Xhaka. But as we'll see with the next section, he is trying to win the ball back. Next section is yellow cards. Yellow cards. If card betting is your thing, you'll enjoy this list, and you might be surprised by it. No player has been booked more across the last 365 days than Anthony Gordon. Zakaria, as I said before, one of my top picks when he's fit for tackles, fouls, and all that, interceptions, cards. But he's likely to be on the bench. He's also on 14 cards. Both of those will probably start on the bench, as will third-placed Conor Gallagher. Bellingham is on 12 cards, as is Granit Xhaka, and I'm sure many people will have Xhaka on for a card in this game. As we saw in the previous section, he might not win many tackles, but he is trying. He's trying to tackle people, but he just doesn't connect. Next up, a bonus section, which is kind of tied into cards. Dribbled past. So across the last 365 days, again, no player has been dribbled past more than Trent Alexander-Arnold. 69 times in the last year. He's tied with Sierro of Switzerland, who incidentally came on as a sub against Italy. I'm just thinking, if Trent starts as that right wing back, yes, he's so creative, and yes, he can ping a pass, and I would love for him to start. But will he be a good option if he does start for a foul, for a card? He's up against Vargas, up against Ibiza, and Rodriguez as well. Doesn't mind getting forward sometimes. They've got a lot of pace, a lot of power, and they will like to hit us on the break. So if Trent is caught out of position, and he has to get back and support Kyle Walker. And we saw, Kyle Walker's positioning in the previous game isn't fantastic as well. Will he be a good option for a card? I think he will. He's not available for a foul on Bet365, as you might expect, but on Betfair he is, and he is at 1.53. Now, this is obviously the risk you run of making these choices before the games and before the teams have come out, but most of the bookmakers will void your bet, and what you can do when the teams come out is just cash out for the same amount and then just put on another player of your choice. So that's what I'm going to do, and with that said, let's now jump to the bookies and put some bet slips together. So this is one of my first selections, just wanted to show you here. Jude Bellingham to commit one or more fouls. For him to be fouled, I wanted to double it up, but it's honestly not worth it. It was like 1.05 or something for him to be fouled. Trent Alexander-Arnold to commit a foul. If he starts, I think he will. And Rodriguez to get a card. I'm just hoping that we do play with these sort of flying wing-backs. It's of course yet to be seen, and that is the risky run of recording these prediction videos ahead of time, but there is strong suggestions that England will play with flying wing-backs. Whether they are Trippier or Saka, we don't know yet, but this is one of my selections. As always, let us know what you think in the comments. Let's try and put another one together as well now. This one is 11.92. It's obviously banking on the Rodriguez card. We'll move over to Bet365 now and just see what the odds are like there as well. Just want to show you something as well. I'm always one for, making you shop around, and this is why. Look at player shots on target. They have 47 options here. But if you were to go to Bet365 and look at the same market, and it's a similar story for fouls and stuff as well, player shots, 47 players you can pick from on Bet365 20. And fouls as well. Trent Alexander-Arnold is not listed on Bet365 for some reason. So if that's, who you want to go for, just exit Bet365, come to Betfair. And again, I'm not affiliated. I just want people to not be dictated by the bookies, because that's why they do it. That's why they leave people off. So here's another slip that I'm looking at. You could potentially add another selection to this. Over 0 cards, so one or more cards in the first half. These refs have been card happy at the start of the games, haven't they, in recent games in the Euros, and I think this could be the same sort of thing. Try and calm the game down. So a first half card for Switzerland. So again, I'm hoping, and this is what you have to do when you're making a prediction. You've got to sort of think in your head, what type of game do you think you're going to see? And then you go from there. You might be wrong in your initial prediction, but at least then you've got something to guide you. And then Declan Rice to have a shot. And again, if we're playing 3 at the back, Declan Rice, I expect him to be a little bit higher up. And if the ball bounces to him, why not take a shot? And Fabian Schär as well, Schär, if he gets stretched, because they play a back 3 as well. And if we can occupy 2 of their defenders and then stretch them with the wing backs that I hope are, again, attack-minded by Southgate. Let's not play Trippier and Saka. Maybe Saka, but on the right, let's not play Trippier. Let's play Trent. Let's play Anthony Gordon. Let's play Eze. Let's go and get this win, get it done, and show that we mean business. And that's, as an Englishman, I'm biased, but that is the type of game that I would like to see. Schär to be pulled out of position a little bit, which he doesn't like to do, and commit a foul. So that is my second slip, and I will do another. Let's go for lucky 3, shall we? A trio of slips. So the first one was on Betfair, the second one was on Bet365, and I'll probably stick with Bet365 and look at some shots on target. So as I'm looking and preparing the next slip, let me know in the comments what you think will happen in this game. Any comment is okay, and it'll automatically be entered into a draw to an OddAlerts Pro. Who's going to have a shot? Who's going to have a foul? What are you on? What do you think? Do you agree with what I've said so far, or do you think something different will happen? Player tackles, Harry Kane. He doesn't look too quick at this tournament, doesn't he? But you never know. That's tempting, isn't it? 2.62. I've been absolutely tempted by the odds. I probably won't put it on, but you never know. He could make a tackle. It's well within his game and his capabilities to make a tackle, Harry Kane, but we'll skip it. So this bet builder is going to start with most goals being scored in the second half. I think these knockout games can be tight affairs sometimes. Jude Bellingham to make a tackle doesn't really bump up the odds, but I do think it will happen. In terms of Switzerland players to make a tackle, again, just one tackle, it's not really doing much for the odds, is it? Vargas as the sort of flying winger up there. Can he make a tackle? I'm just going to leave that, and I'm going to actually look at some shots on target for this and maybe some bookings as well. This one can be a bit of a more elaborate slip. Maybe we look for 10, sort of 15 odds for this one. Now, this is my long shot, and I'll just show it you here. Most goals to be scored in the second half. We're hoping for a tight affair. Most corners, England. We're hoping for England to press and dominate possession and really try and get those wing-backs going up and down. And again, it comes back to what kind of players Gareth is going to pick. And both teams receive a card, yes. England or draw for the full-time result. And Mainu to have a shot on target. He had a few shots in that last game, didn't he? That one, I could adjust it, to be honest. I might adjust it live here because I'm not confident with it. As I was saying it, I'm just not confident. Confident that he can have a shot for sure, but shot on target, he might not even start if we're playing this new system. Who knows? This is why everything's been thrown up in the air. Eze for a shot would be good if he's playing left wing back. If you can just send the team to me, Gareth, before the game, just send it to me now via WhatsApp, and that'll be good. I'm going to go with Bellingham. Going to go with Bellingham because he's the safest bet I can see there. Harry Kane for a shot on target takes it up to about 10s as well, was it? Takes it up to 8. No, we're going to go with Bellingham. Outside of the box, shot on target, maybe it falls to him. I think if we do play this new system, Bellingham's going to be playing as that shadow striker, pushing on, pinging it up to Tony or Kane or both, and then he will be trying to progress and win the ball in good areas, and obviously he loves to shoot, he can score goals, we know that. So Bellingham to get a shot on target, 13s this one. So they are my 3 bet slips. Let me know what you think in the comments, let everybody else know, and yeah, we will see what happens. And if you missed it at the start of the video, this is the winner from the previous video. All you got to do is comment. Well done to you. You've won a month of OddAlerts Pro, and I will be in touch. Enjoy the games, everybody. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you in the next one.